Okay, good afternoon to each and everyone. Let us please stand up as we look to God in prayer as we open this session. Let us pray. Our Lord God of Heavenly Father, I want to thank you, Lord, for this afternoon. Thank you for your grace and thank you for your mercy. Lord, as we gather here this afternoon, Lord, we ask your guidance and protection over each and every one. Lord, I pray for the facilitators, pray for all who are here. I ask that we have a productive evening and you guide and protect us. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. At this time, I pass over to Sister Rose. Andrew.
I'll cover.
Okay. Yeah, let's must start with this.
Let me make sure. Let me make sure my phone is on. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Andrew Lockhart, a member of GEMS and one of the facilitators in this project that we'll be discussing shortly. I warmly welcome you to this might have been about our fourth association in this hall. We would have been with you since sometime around late December to February, March, December of last year, February, March of 2026. I am reaching out to you in the name of the GEMS Environmental Management Services, a community group of 60 years standing. We are based within the Stubbs, Enhams, Diamond area. But over the recent past, we have had what we call a national or even a regional outreach. We are currently undertaking a project that is titled Improving Watershed Management in the Central Biodiversity Corridor of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Central and right here in the Connery Park Hills, South Rivers, Goss area is the Connery watershed, one of the largest of the 12 watersheds we have in St. Vincent, actually. Our project, among other things, have 4 principal components, and we're going to be discussing one of them here this afternoon. We just came from the George Stevens Secondary School that is right at the foot of the Connery watershed. We were there engaging with the students. It's one of the components we have is called biodiversity monitoring, which in itself seeks to stimulate the young minds, the mind of our students and youths, to become environmental stewards on the one hand, to be more responsible community and national citizens of our community and to take care of our biodiversity. And we're hoping also that we will, at some point in time, help them to engage and to be better at some of the subject areas such as geography, agricultural science, human and social biology, integrated science, among others. There's another component of the project that is known as agroforestry. That first part of the word having to do with agriculture, growing of crops, rearing of livestock, and forestry, that having to do with trees, not necessarily food, trees, edible fruits, but maybe timber species that are the type of trees that we can feed to our livestock, or even some trees that we can plant on our farm to improve the natural condition of the soil, including to make it more fertile so we can grow our crops. And then the component that we really want to zero in on this evening, and we're delighted to have so much of you here, we almost have the 25 persons by now, is what we call the ecological garden, or the eco garden, or in its simplest, purest form, where we are promoting the use of organic practices, where you're growing your crops without or with the bare minimum use of fertilizers or pesticides on the farm. Yes? Before I get any further on into the discussion, I want to acknowledge some of my colleagues among us. And on my immediate right is our very own Mr. Brian Dabro. He is the local community coordinator. So he's our hands and feet, ears and eyes, as we engage you here in Park Hill, Connery, South Rivers, Goss, Byra, Connery itself, within what we call the Connery watershed. Yours is not the only watershed that we're focusing on this project. We're also doing similar activities in Cumberland, that is in the Spring Village, Garden Yard, Westwood area, as well as in the Buckoment watershed, which are the 12 communities from the Buckoment Bay right up to Vermont. And it includes other communities like Franceways, 20 Hill, Penniston, Hope, Dubois, etc., etc. Right? So, Mr. Dabra, we thank you for the energy and the spirit of which you have embraced this project on the behalf of GEMS. We also have, well, our sister Anselma Rose. She was the one who should be chairing the session, but you could hear her with a fit of cough. So this is a team effort. This should have to go on. So you're going to hear from her at some point in the proceedings. Who else? Our sister Karen Lavier. She's the overall coordinator, but she's the logistics person. She was quite busy, so she's getting something to eat. Who am I missing? Dane Jack will be our main presenter, main facilitator for the Eco Garden component. He will tell you a little bit more about himself. I want to acknowledge Monty Cupid from Bay Hill Radio. Monty has been working for the years I've known him. Has been working with the Scouts, SVG Scouts Association. But the engagement we have in here is captured by Bay Hill Radio and is shared with Concordia Radio, that is based in Canada, and we also have reach in Fun City, New York, and we also have outreach on the African continent. Indeed. So you can also capture the proceedings on YouTube and Facebook. So this is a collaboration we take with very serious level of responsibility and in outreach, and let Vincentian in the diaspora and people in the international community know that there is an organization known as GEMS Environmental Management Services, working with community groups in these 3 watersheds, including Connery. So this is my segue of, oh, I'm sorry, Sister Jocelyn. We have 2 other members of GEMS in the back, Sister Jocelyn, Mary Jocelyn, and we have Bijan, and then we have Brother Carlos Glasgow. Bijan and Carlos, they became members of GEMS just a fortnight ago. And Bijan himself, a young man, he came through the tutelage of GEMS, and he is committed to giving back. He's a banker by profession. And when we have projects like these, obviously there's elements of budget and financing. So we're glad to have that skill set. And Mr. Glasgow, he's a teacher by profession, and he too is also a farmer. And he teaches right at the George Stevens Secondary School. So we're delighted to have the 2 latest members of GEMS with us. Sister Anselma, one thing I forget to mention about her, she's one of 2 directors of GEMS. And on this project here, improving watershed management in the Central Mountain Biodiversity Corridor of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, she serves as the capacity building and gender expert on the project. And I saved 1 other person among us, and I deliberately did so. He hails from the United States of America, Washington, D.C., and I'm speaking about none other than this handsome gentleman here, Mr. Dan Rothberg, of the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund, the CEPF, as we call it. That is the entity that is funding the project. And Dan here is serving in the capacity as the grant manager. He has been here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines a week ago, for some other business. And then mutually we saw it fit to get him on ground to interface with some of the communities that we're working with. I mentioned earlier on, we not too long came from the George Stevens Secondary School down the road, where we interface with the teachers and students under the biodiversity monitoring component. It's definitely important that we have him to interface with you, and we're twinning that. So this is a walking session in a very real way, where we will have Dane taking you into one of his components, the ecological garden, or the eco garden, or the organic farming element of our project so far. Yes? So let this be an engagement. Dan is playing a critical role, and we want to acknowledge the seriousness with which he engages us, and to see it fit to be among us. And so let us not waste the opportunity, but rather you will hear from Dane. Dane is saying in country. Dan you live in when? Tomorrow or the day after? Dane and the rest of us at GEMS going to be around. So feel free, do not hesitate to whatever questions that you may, comments or concerns that you may have. Please let him know. He's going to be asking you questions too, right? The project is of 18-month duration. We are just 6 months in. So we have not even quite a year, because we have to make about 3 months or so in terms of the wrap-up phase. So we have just about 9 months or so to really get things done on the ground. Okay? So again, thank you for taking time out. Most of these folks are farmers, have some other areas of engagements. So some person just, returning from their farm. And again, through the erstwhile efforts by Mr. Dabro to mobilize and get people. So this time of the afternoon, we realize it, you give it the highest priority. So we do not want to keep you beyond what we consider reasonable. We thank you for being here again, and let's make it a most productive session that we can get. Thank you, and let's have Dan addressing us a bit.
Hold that.
Yes.
Is this the microphone?
Yes.
Okay. Like this? All right. Thank you, everyone. Hi. All right. So, Dan, my name is Daniel. Everyone calls me Dan Rothberg. I'm from Washington, D.C. in the United States. And thank you, Andrew. As Andrew explained, so I work for the funding entity. I'm called a grant director. It's not my money. Let's be clear. It's not my money. I'm just trying to do the same thing that you're trying to do. And what is that? It's really to improve our lives. We're here because we want to have better lives. We want to have better lives. And how do we do that? We do that by having a better environment, right? Clean water, healthy soil, productive land. All of those things add up to a better life for us. Or we turn away from something bad so that we can do something good, even if something bad might be trying to scratch out a living on some farm that isn't productive enough, and instead we have some alternative that we could do that's more productive. Both are good for the environment. Both are good for us all together. And that's what we're trying to support, is looking for ways that we can better manage where we live. All right, now there's certain things that I might focus on and that the donors to my organization look at. They look at these words like biodiversity. They look at species and forest. These are the things that are important to me. But I know what's important to you. It's the same as important to me in my own house. It's my income. It's my children. It's my children's education, my health. Those are the things that are important. So we don't forget one when we think about the other. I don't want to talk about species and parrots and black racer snakes if that's not what you want to talk about. If you want to talk about something else, that's what we talk about. But I think there's like a connection. I think we can get both goals to be achieved, where by living healthier, more sustainable lives, we end up with a healthier, more sustainable environment. I think that's possible. I know it's possible. I realize we're in like a small place. It's just one watershed, one community, or one collection of communities. That's perfect. That means we're with the right people. We're not in Kingstown talking to government ministers about some faraway place. We're here. We're talking about the place that we live. This is our neighborhood. So we call ourselves the Critical Ecosystem Partnership Fund. That's the name of our fund. Partnership is in the name. That's what we're here for, is to create partnerships, to work together, to figure out ways to get what we both want. Anyway, that's why I'm here, and we'll be talking more. But the other element to this is I realize these things take a long time. Maybe this is just the beginning, or maybe this is something that you've been talking about for years. However, we know it takes a long time to plant a tree. No, it doesn't take long to plant a tree. It takes a long time to grow a tree. It takes a long time to see a difference in your environment. Generations, 10 years, 20 years, which is why we came from the school earlier, because it's the children who are the ones who really are going to benefit from this. So we have to remember that, the goal is somewhere in the future. It's okay when we don't get results immediately. What matters to me is that we all understand where we're headed, that we're all able to kind of measure that progress so that we know we're going in the right direction. But it's okay if we don't get results instantaneously. We have to be patient. This is how the world works. Anyway, all right, I'll stop there. I'll look to Andrew as the facilitator of this session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. Go ahead. Okay, so we're going to have Sister Rose sharing some remarks with us indeed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry that I couldn't start the session because I'm supposed to chair it, but I'm suffering with a terrible cough. So that has really hindered me from really starting. And thanks to to Andrew Lockett for starting the session with us today. And thank you, Dan, for the remarks made. Well, we are no stranger to you because this is not the first time we have been here. We have been here coming to different sessions. So it's important that while we were just giving you information in the previous sessions, now we are looking to concretize that. We want you to start to think about how best we can do our farming in a more ecological manner. And that is, when I say ecological manner, in terms of what we call organic farming. Because many of us, we know a lot of people in this community used to grow bananas. And it's paraquat, right? We had urea for manure and so on. So, you know, one of the things Fair Trade did is to help us to get away from that. So this program now is to help you even to get further away from that, showing that you can use all the necessary material that is available within your space to grow healthy crops. And not only grow healthy crops, to also preserve the environment in which you live, because we know what used to happen with regard to all that poisoned water washing down into the river coming from the hillside, from the banana fields. And we know that as a result, there has been a high mortality rate in the farming community, because a lot of people end up with cancer. Am I wrong? Right? Because when you think cancer, the stomach, cancer, the colon, you know, and well, we know the men with the prostate cancer and everything else and so on. But we never know our own environment is poisoning us. So we have here Dane, who is going to speak to us about the importance of growing your crops naturally, using everything natural, you know, and to get away from the chemicals that we use to grow crops. And so now I'm going to introduce you to him to speak on the topic, and he will probably give you some practical examples in terms of how you do things. Because I remember we came up here already where we talk about not using pesticides. Like we have if we see where there's a Jack Spaniel thing, we go on for our spray it. What we're doing, every time we spray that, it ain't just stay there. It go within the environment. Even in your field, you're gone, you see centipede, you kill it, right? Okay? And all of these things are important when we're talking about biodiversity. They all make up part of our biodiversity. Yeah, they're part of our environment, and they all have their functions, and functions which is important to us. This is why we have to exist with all the animals and creatures and things, living organisms around us. And that is what biodiversity is all about. So I will just turn you on to Brother Jack.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, as Sister Rose said, my name is Dane Jack. A little about myself. I'm a farmer. I'm a gardener. I am a lecturer. I'm a graphic designer. I'm an artist. All right? Little history about myself. I grew up in a farming family. My mother was a poultry farmer, mainly, right? She used to do a bit of horticulture, and I gravitate more to the plants. Not that I don't love animals, I love animals, but the thing is, I get attached to my animals, and I find it difficult, even when I was small. What my mom used to do, anytime she's slaughtering, she used to lock me up in the house because she know I can't deal with it. All right, so I'm more into the plant part of it. Yes, I do real animals. I do real them more mainly. Well, I do slaughter some, but I really don't do the slaughtering. Only the chickens I do sometimes, but I have other guys who come in and like kill the goat and the sheep because I get connected to my animals. I could call them and they will come and stuff like that. So, right. No, but I'm here to talk to you today on the topic of ecological gardens play an important role in lessening the effects of climate change by reducing the carbon footprint, improving soil health through composting, and creating natural, sustainable ecosystem. Now, there's some terms here that I would like you guys to be familiar with before I move forward, but I want to see how much you guys know about some of these terms. I'm going to ask the audience, when they hear the word ecosystem, what comes to mind? What do you think when they say ecosystem, what does that mean? So two terms I want you all really to focus on, the ecosystem and sustainability. Anybody? Ecosystem? Things around us. Mm-hmm. Anybody else? Okay. So the ecosystem deals basically with everything in the environment, the way how they interact, the living and also the non-living organism. All right, so it's always an interaction, right? And the interaction is very, very important. Now, sustainable. When you hear the term sustainable, what comes to mind? Sustainable. Anyone? Okay, so sustainable meaning basically to continue on. All right? Make it long lasting, make it surviving forever. Okay? Now, the component that I am speaking to you guys on is sustainable livelihood through the promotion of ecological backyard gardening communities located adjacent to the 3 KBAs as a strategy of enhancing food security and nutrition and generating income for 20% of the households. All right? So like I said, sustainable is basically able to keep going, all right? And ecology, relationship between living things and their environment. Now, what I want to do with you guys is to introduce you guys to an activity. And within this activity, you're going to learn all about ecology and the ecosystem. All right, so I'm going to need you guys to come up here with me, and you're going to form a circle. All right? So you guys come on up.
Come, let's go.
Come on up. So we have our own little ecosystem here where we're going to interact with each other. All right? Monty, it's good. Okay. So I'm going to give everyone an index card. Right? So you're going to hold this on your person so everybody can see. You're going to be an organism within the environment. All right? So Lockhart, I'm going to...
Let me share them out.
Yeah, just share. You can just hold that up. I will explain after finish. I will explain more about the game. It might drop off. So if it drop off, you just hold it up. Okay. So you have. I think that's it. Okay, so
Everybody got one? Okay, let me share some over here. Oh. One.
Okay.
Okay, I have one more. Okay, we have a few more.
Okay, so here,
All right, so we'll work in partnership.
we partnership. You partner with someone.
Okay, but we still have one.
Teach. Huh? In time. You get understand. Okay, so I'm gonna explain the rule of this game, right? So in my hand is a ball of twine. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give this ball of twine to someone, right? I'm going to demonstrate arm lockout. Come, let me demonstrate this. Let me demonstrate. All right? So I'm going to give Mr. Lockout this ball of twine, right? So Mr. Lockout is going to be an organism, right? And then he's going to send this part of the twine to somebody, right? So he's going to send it. So say Lockout is, let me say beach.
All right,
he's the beach, right? He's going to send, well, let's say fish. So he's a fish. He's going to send this part of the twine to the river, right? The river going to hold on to this, right? The river is going to tell me what connection that the fish has with the river. So you're going to tell me what connection does it has. All right? What does the river does for the fish, or what the fish does for the river, right? When the river now, after answering the question, after telling me what the connection is, he's going to hold this part of the twine, right? And then he's going to send it to somebody. So he decided he's going to send it to the bee. So the bee is going to hold on to this, and the bee is going to tell us what connection, if there's any, to the river and the bee. And then after answering that question, the bee gonna could send it anywhere, right? So we might send it over here, and we continue this on and on and on, right? Understand? Okay? So I'm gonna start with we're gonna start with the tree. So the tree gonna hold the twine first. So the tree will hold here. Let go. Oh, no, let go. All right? So you're going to hold this, right? Okay, so tree, you're not going to say anything yet. We'll come back to you last, right? So you want to tell me, where do you want this? Everybody hold up their card. We need to see what's on the card. Okay, so tree. Okay, let's go. Where do you want this to go? We wanted to, actually we're going to create a web, eh?
Sun.
So the tree to the sun. So the sun is going to tell me what connection does it has, or what does it does for the tree?
Sunlight.
You got to tell everybody. So you hold that. So the tree, and you got to hold it stiff, eh? Hold your end stiff. Yeah, you must hold the tension, right? So sun, what connection you have with the tree? Tell us. Sunlight. Anything else? What does the sunlight does to the tree? Let her answer, and then You could help her out after. Let's go. You, both of you. Give the tree energy. Okay, all right. Who you want to send it to? Pick anybody. You can pick anybody. Just pick anybody. You pick anybody. River. So the sun. You hold that. You gotta hold that. So you said the river. So river. River. So you river, you hold this, and you tell us what connection the river and the sun has. Huh? So the sun evaporates the water from the river, and what happens after that? Let's go. Let's carry it a bit further. So the sun. So it, okay, yes, it evaporates, it condenses, and it comes back as rain, and it gives the tree water. All right, good. We're going good so far. River? Huh? River. Yeah. Tell me where you wanted to go now. Leaf. So you have the living leaf. River and living leaf. Connection. If the person can't help, if the person can't give an answer, then you can help the person. All right? But just give them a few seconds first for them to see if they could answer. Tell us. But use the leaf. Use a living leaf. A leaf with life. So what connection do you have with that? The living leaf. Okay. Anybody? No, this is a living leaf. This is living. This is a leaf. This is a leaf that is on the tree itself. What connection does? Okay, so hold it. Anybody can help this out? Help us here? Well, the leaves actually right photosynthesis, but what's the direct connection? Is there a direct connection between the river and the leaf? The living leaf. Okay, picture. Okay, look at this. Please listen, please. Please, listen. There's a tree over the river, right? How does the river what relationship does the river and the leaf has? What can the leaf do for the river or the river do for the leaf that is over? Okay, no, okay. Anybody? One person speaker at a time, please. Please, yes. Leaves store the water for the tree. Leaves store the water for the tree, okay. Okay, what about the river is there, right? Evaporation is taking place. Do you know that the leaves, the underneath of a leaf also absorb water and nutrients? Right? So you see that connection? Right? Living leaf, where do you want this to go? No, send it somewhere further. Not send it somewhere further. Let me make a web. No. Use Ralph? Okay, so Ralph, hold that. Right. So the living leaf and the roach. Tell us the connection between the living leaf and the roach.
The roach hide underneath the leaf.
Okay, so the roach could hide under the leaf for protection. Protection from what?
Sun.
From the sun, and also from rain, and also from And also from, okay, let's continue. I know I'm trying to get something, but we'll get back there. So you hold this now. Where do you want this to go?
You see with somebody else that
Hold up your lead so he can see. So he will decide where he wanted to go.
can't sit too well, you know.
You have snake there, you have roach, you have frog, you have earthworm.
Outwarm.
All right. So hold that up so you can see what, so the roach and the earthworm. All right. Roach and the earthworm. So earthworm, tell us the connection with the roach. Okay, it might eat up the earthworm. Yes. Now I ask you a question just to speed up what we're doing. So the roach will eat the earthworm, right? That's what you said, right? But do you know that the earthworm could eventually eat the roach? Okay, all right. So, we get in there, yes. So the earthworm is very important to the soil. So where do you want this to go now? You don't have to look for any direct connection, you just send it to somebody. But ants, so you want to go to the ants. Who's the ant? So hold there, you hold there. Okay, so hold it tightly, everybody. So let me go earthworm.
To ants.
Yeah, ants is a very important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right?
Because ants motivate the earth.
Right, but you're going to tell us, we just want the connection there. We will get to all of that eventually.
Ants are bite us.
No. Listen.
To warm.
We want a connection between the earth. We will get all to all of that, but we want the connection with the ant and the earthworm. So tell me what connection you have there.
Because me see connection with ants and earthworm already.
Tell us what it is, what the connection you saw.
Ants are bite the earthworm.
The ants bite the earthworm, so the ant eat the earthworm. Okay.
Yeah.
So now, who do you want this to go to? Hold this tight.
Anybody go to.
Well, hold that. Well, I can put to somebody. Hold this. You hold it.
Let me give you
Listen.
five.
You hold this. Hold this. Right.
One time.
Okay, he said you want you together. So let's go back to the tree. Right. Hold that there. Hold it that tight, right? The tree. You just have to hold two. Don't mind. So the ant and the tree. What do you see in nature? What do you see ants and tree do together?
Well, the ants also could destroy the tree.
It could destroy the tree, whatever else connection it has. Let him speak. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell us.
And he also could make the tree evolve.
Okay, so the ant could use the tree as a home.
Yeah.
Nice. Sorry, but you have to get two, but hold this side there.
Yeah,
All right?
like-
Where want this go? At the end of the day, everybody have to get connected, eh?
Yeah. Rock.
You want to go to the rock. So the tree and the rock. This is a very good one. So the tree and the rock. Hold it, yeah. Right? So tell us the connection between the tree and the rock. Rock will break down. Okay, so if the rock break down, what else? What happens? Huh? With the tree and the rock. So the rock breaks down. Okay, so you're seeing that wash away in the soil and the tree. Okay, anything else? Okay, the tree can help to stabilize the rock from moving from its place and eroding, yes? Anything else? Thank you, sir. So the rock itself, when it breaks down, the minerals can end up being manure for the tree. Awesome. Hold there. Hold this. Right? Who you want it to go to? Let's send it back over this way. I don't know. You're going to tell me what's on the leaf. What's banjo? So you have, hold it up, let's see. So you have the rock. Okay, I liken these connections. So the rock and the rain. Hold at the top. Rock and the rain. Rock and the rain. Tell us, banjo. Let banjo speak, please. Let banjo speak. Yes, banjo. And do what? I'm catching you. What is he saying? I ain't get what he's saying. And tumble the rock. What else? What else? What does the rain does to the rock? We just talk about it with the connection with the manual. What the rain can do? It could help to break down the minerals in the rock, so the minerals can end up go to the tree and feed the tree manure. Right? Hold there. We want to go to. Nobody has seen what you have in us, so you gotta hold up the paper. Okay, so we want to go to flowers. So rain and flower. Right. So hold this one time. Okay, you go ahead. Tell us. Rain and flower.
Well, the flowers depend on the rain for its most important nutrients. And the flowers could be a source of food in some way, and it also could be beauty for nature. You know, and it's also a source of money making, finance.
Okay.
There's another thing.
Right. But that's why we just want one connection, direct connection, and then we go get those others after. All right?
Okay, good.
Yes. So flower, you want this to go to where? They go to soil. They go to
Soil, yeah.
Right. They go to the soil. So now before the soil speaks, look what we have created here. What are we creating here? What do you call this? This is a connection, so this is a web, right? So this is actually showing how everything within this environment or the environment out there is connected. All right? Tell us, the flower and the soil. And I'm going to just make a connection with the soil. So go ahead. So when you look outside, right? You see the flower and you see the soil. Huh? But what's the connection you see? This flower and the soil. Okay. Right? So there's a plant here. There's some soil in here. What the soil is doing for this plant? What else? It helps it to grow. Huh? What about the soil being a home for the plant? See that? This is what helps to make this plant stationary. All right, anything else? Soil and the plant. What does the plant root does for the soil? As gardeners, as farmers. Okay, the root can manure the soil. But what else? Huh? Make it stable. What else? Right. But what can the plant actually do for the soil? For instance, you have, let me give an example. So you have a clay soil. Clay soil, clay soil are compact, right? There's a plant that is planted there. When the root grows, what does the root does to the soil? It breaking down the soil, which is softening it so that water and air could penetrate. Okay, now I want to make a connection. I'm not going to make you call the connection. You hold it. You hold this piece. Hold this, right? I'm going to send this straight over to the earthworm. Right? No, but you got to hold it. If you don't hold it, then I would not know the connection is there. Oh, but I'm going to bring it back over here for a reason. Soil and the earthworm. Hold it. Well, then let him speak now.
The soil is food for the earthworm,
Soil have food for the earthworm. Okay. Yes. Anything else?
and it fertilizes the soil.
How does it fertilize the soil?
The water.
Okay, so by the earthworm moving through the soil, it softens the soil. It actually makes air pockets, where it makes the tracks for the air and the water to Okay, so I'm going to continue. So when it comes to your backyard garden, or when you're ready to prepare your garden, the first thing you're going to take into consideration is your soil health, right? Your soil health is very, very important and is one of the most, well, it's the most, for me, it's one of the most important things when you're starting to develop your garden. All right? Now you can develop your soil health or improve your soil health by the use of organic material, right? So these organic material can come from your environment, all right? So what you can use is your organic material, be things like your leaves, your dried leaves, your grass cuttings, all right? And for me, when I do my farming, one of the main things I use is wood chips. I like to use wood chips. And we use those, when we cover the soil in that way by using wood chip, you call it mulching. All right, you're familiar with the term mulch, right? Okay. Well, I know, in St. Vincent, we don't practice mulching, and I am trying to see if we could get it done more in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. All right? Now, it's very important for you to cover your soil. Wait until the conversation. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, all right, so the covering of your soil. Hello, hello. Tell a guy to stop for me, please. Right, so it's very important for you to have your soil covered. All right? When you're doing your farming or your garden, it is very, very important. Reason 4, in St. Vincent, we normally farm on the slopes, right? And what we do, we dig banks. And when we do that, what we see when the rain falls on the shoreline, all the soil is washed away down into the sea, right? And not only just the soil, but all the nutrients is being depleted also. All right, so it's very, very important to cover your soil. All right? You want me to explain? You have to come inside. Okay, like I was saying, covering is called mulch, right? So you can use your grass, when you cut your grass, you can use those back instead of throwing them away or even burn them, you can use them to cover the ground. So when the rain fall, or even the sun, the heat of the sun, it will retain the moisture. Rainfall, it prevents land degradation or erosion from taking place. All right? So it's yes, the soil, the grass itself also going to break down into manure. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk to you guys on is fertilization. Now, we talk about the cover, right, which is the mulch. And by covering the soil with your organic material, they're also going to break down into, excuse me? They're also going to turn into manure. As they break down, they give the soil nutrients, right? So when it comes to fertilization, the mulch in itself also adds to that. And with that happening, it also improves your soil health. So we normally go about and we clear the land and then we plant. We're actually making the soil weaker, right? So that is not sustainable for your plants and even for your livelihood. All right? Now, another way that you can fertilize and use the things that are in your environment, even the same grass that you cut, you can turn those into liquid manure, right? When I say liquid manure, this is how you go about doing it. You can take the grass, even your food scraps, and you put them in water. You might have one of those blue barrels, and you put them in there to seep. For a while, you seep it until the smell is one of like natural earth. If it smells ransom, you don't use it. You wait until it smells close to, well, it have an earthy smell. All right? And you can use it, your kitchen scraps, your eggshells. You know, if you soak your eggshells and stuff like that, it adds calcium. Right? So you can even think about certain plants. Certain plants have different nutrients in them. So you can soak a certain plant to get a certain nutrients out of it. For instance, banana skin will give you potassium. Yes, you can ask questions. Well, yes. Well, you can, well, I have when I do my manual, right? You can soak it as long as you want, because I have drums. I have a drum with liquid manure going about 3 years now. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, but then you will have to wait until the scent becomes earthy, because if you don't do that, then there could be bacteria, harmful bacteria. So the harmful bacteria will start to give off the foul scent. Right, you can have different. Yes, you can use different. Yes. Because like I said, I have some that even 3 years. And so the reason why that is 3 years, because I've been adding on that one, but there are some that I have otherwise that I'm using right now. Right? I'm getting there, yes. Well, good. So now the thing is, when you make your liquid manure, you're not gonna just go and take some out and throw it on the plant, because it can be harmful, it can be too strong. So you need to dilute it, right? There's a rule that I use, a 10-to-1 rule, right? So for every 10 liter, I will use 1 liter manure. You understand? Now, even sometimes if I'm using a 5-gallon bucket, I'll use maybe half of that. A chubby bottle, or like a chubby bottle, to the 5-gallon bucket, right? And sometimes what you can do is that you make your first portion, you can test it on one plant first and see how that plant responds. And then from that, you add it to the other plants. All right? Yes.
You spoke about eggshell.
Yes.
Eggshell to fertilize soil.
Yes. Eggshell is more calcium. So like if your tomatoes, you know the bottom end rot, so the tomatoes and the peppers, you can use eggshells. And what you can do, even before you plant those plants, you can actually have eggshells and put it in the hole first. You dig your hole, you mash up the eggshells, and you put the plant in. So that's the calcium. And I guarantee you that that plant would not get bottom end rot. All right? The best thing you can do for that is actually if you could blend up the shell to bring it almost like a powder. So use it as a powder. It's going to be the same calcium as well, just that it's not man-made in that sense, that you use in the soil that you're going to buy in the market. And the one in the market is much dangerous because it have additives to those things. All right? Yes, sir. Thank you for that. So the manure can be used as a soil drench or also on the leaves, sprayed on the leaves, a foliage manure, right? But you have to dilute it even further. So you add more water, right? So it wouldn't be the 10-to-1 ratio. Understand? So you can make it less concentrated. All right? Yes, but once you spray it on the leaves, you break it down lower, smaller than the 10-to-1. All right? More for the soil drench. Yes, the soil drench, yes. All right? Now, I think today is the start of the hurricane season. Yes. Right? So we're getting out of the drought season. But I'm going to talk to you guys now a bit about irrigation, right? And if you notice, I'm always going back to the cover, which is keeping the soil covered. For example, I'm going to give you an example. When you go, some of the richest areas in St. Vincent is the forest areas. And the reason for this is because of the cover and because we haven't gone there and destroy or dig up the soil. So what the covering does is actually keep the moisture in the soil. So that will reduce, by covering your soil, it reduces your water usage, right? Because when the heat of the sun comes, it lessens evaporation, right? There are different ways you can cover your soil, but I normally goes for the wood chips and the grass cuttings. I get better results from the wood chips. If you notice, guys, I'm not telling you guys about the plastics, right? That the government gives out. Well, the previous government used to give out. I don't know if this one gonna give out the same, but I stay away from those. Reason for those plastics actually kills the important organisms within the soil. So when you go and you buy this plastic and cover the soil, your roaches, the whole ecosystem again being affected, the roaches, the centipede, the ants, because of the heat, it kills them. So you're covering your soil and actually thinking that you're doing the plant benefit, but you're not. You're actually killing the soil. It might work 1 or 2 times well, but after that, right? Because what's going to happen when you cover that, the soil is going to have nutrients in it that those plants are going to use up. But when that is depleted, and then you have to go now and be buying manure, buying this to put back into the soil. When you can actually have your mulch that is breaking down, your organic mulch that is breaking down every day and adding nutrients to the soil right away. All right? So back to the irrigation. Now, we're talking about climate change also, and we have to think about, when we're doing our irrigation, we think about recycling. All right? So instead of you having your ground there and you dig a hole and you throw the water, and then by the time 11 o'clock, the place dry again, right? Like I said, you cover your soil, and then in recycling, you can even use back these bottles, fill them with water, put them at the base of the plant. So you can simply make a device like this. All I have is a plastic bottle with a little hole in the cap. And what do you call this again? This Q-tip, right? You put it in there, and this is how, and you turn it above, and this create a drip system for you. Right? So you can put this at the plant root, and this will water your plant for the day. Right? So this will just stay there and drip. If you find a way to install it on some sticks, and then it just drip, drip, drip. Right? So you can recycle using these. These also, I actually saw a video today where they're actually using the bottles to make beds. Instead of concrete, they put the bottle, they dig a little trench, and they turn them upside down, and they bury them about this high. So, and they have the line, and they make their raised beds. All right?
Yeah, but in the dry season, when it's on if you pour water, it will kill the plant.
How is it going to kill the plant?
Because the soil will get hot. Water will get hot.
No, if the soil get hot, then it's going to evaporate the water.
Yeah, you have to kill the plant.
No, it just means that if this is not sufficient for one plant, if the evaporation, listen, now the thing what you're telling me now, no, thank you for that. Remember I'm mentioning to you about mulch. This is why I want you guys to get away from clearing the land completely. Once you add your mulch there and you use this, evaporation is decreased tremendously. Yes. If it's a bay, then I can see that happening. Right? And then if you think that this, based on the heat of the day, this is not sufficient, you can do 2 bottles for 1 plant. All right? Anything else on any question on irrigation? Okay, now we're going into pest control. Remember I'm saying this, that we're always going back to the mulch or the covering of the soil. Now, the first prevention, or the first thing you should take care when we're dealing with your soil is your plant health and your soil health. Healthy soil creates healthy plants. And a healthy plant will be more resistant to pests. So you first give them that barrier or that shield, right, by making your soil healthy. Now, when it comes to pesticides, organic pesticides, what you can do, you can use plants as deterrents. All right? Plants as deterrents. Anybody know some of the plants? What plants you use as a deterrent to deter pests from your garden? Marigold. Yes, marigold is one. But what I find with marigold don't really treat pests effectively above the ground. What I realize with marigold is it more works for pests inside the soil. Right? Now, neem is a very good one. My approach with neem, you can buy the oil, but what I do is that the same how I make my liquid manure, I will do that to the neem fruit and also the leaves. So what I do, I will soak these in the barrel and the drum for a while, let it ferment, and then I use it as a spray. That is from my own experimentation. All right? So you guys, and it works, but the thing is that you have to apply it regularly. Maybe every 3 days, anytime rain fall, you have to go out and make sure you give them a spray. Now, the thing is with pests, it's not for you to go out there and spray your entire plants with these chemicals, because at the end of the day, they're going to end up back in your food. Now, the man-made or organic pesticide, what that does is deter or run the pests from out of your garden, so they will keep away. You're not really killing them. In some instances, some of them will die, because I will give you a solution where you can actually, that will kill some of the ants, but it will actually run the colony away. All right? So the thing is not to actually spray for them to die, but for them to keep away. Now, so that's how we're going to use certain plants. So you can use, we call it scythe. The correct name is chive. So you can plant chives around your border of your land, right? Call those again, the mint, basil. You can use basil. Basil help with aphids and stuff like that. So you plant them in basil. Okay. Basil. So you use basil as deterrent. And the good thing is that you plant these things more to the border, right? And when you're planting these, sometimes you have to take into consideration the plants that you're planting with them. All right? Because certain plants attract certain pests, right? What I notice, in my garden right now, I have a little issue with whiteflies. Yeah. And the only plant in my garden, I have okras in that area. I have okras, I have cabbage, I have peppers, and I have kale. And I noticed that the only plant in that area that is being affected by the whiteflies is the kale. And I'm wondering why is just the kale? right? So, but I have within the garden, I have save and I have, well, I have tomato, I have one or two tomatoes, they're not being affected. I don't understand it. It's just the kale, the attacks. Right? So I don't know if it's because I have where the tomatoes are, I have the save. But I do have some save near some of the kale. So I'm not too sure, but it's just the kale. I'm seeing one or two on them. And for what I'm going to do to treat those, because I haven't treated them as yet, I'm going to mix a portion of, I'm going to mix up some, at least some garlic, heads of garlic. I'm going to have a head of garlic. I'm going to blend that up, let it ferment. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to mix a little bit of baking soda in it with a little bit of coconut oil or olive oil and spray it. And that should get them away. But the thing is, I have to spray it maybe every 3 days until they're gone completely. Right? Yes. The mole?
Yeah, I have problems. Even on time, when we stick time,
Mm-hmm.
even at the time leaves, I have problems with that time.
I know the black stuff you're talking about. So what you have to do is you got to do a bit of experiment, like I say, right? So what you can do, you can start off with the garlic. Garlic is very essential for that. Even onions, you could use onions and do it also. So you could try the garlic with a little bit of dish soap, spray it and see what happens. I remember I heard people say it already that for that black stuff, even if you use the powdered breeze, I think they more recommend the Roman one. You dilute it and you spray the plants and it helps to get rid of that. All right?
That is a thing that is very widespread.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you. I got rid of it already. I had it on my guava tree. I had it on a guava tree. And what I sprayed the guava with, it was a portion of baking soda and beer. I used beer. I don't have it on that tree anymore. Right. So it's a fungus. So if it's a fungus, when you see fungus, baking soda. I believe it's the baking soda that did it. Right? Yes.
Well, I have to be doing some kind of special thing. Well, I find a certain state, right? After I get like 3 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Start to see like some of the leaves that fall out. You check this is like the same white fungus around.
Okay, so
The same treatment with the baking soda.
yeah, try the baking soda. Try.
Remedy, I use a couple of years
Mm-hmm.
hot pepper.
Hot, right, to detour.
And we have some pepper along with this color, but
Right, this fine, small, but right.
I want to just put it in hot water and then
Right.
put it in spray water.
Right. Yeah. So hot pepper. So you can also make that in the mix with the garlic, the baking soda, and the hot pepper. I forgot what to mention, the hot pepper. You can use the hot pepper. Right? The hot pepper is very, very, very good. Right? And also you can use a little bit of oil. The oil is gonna act the same as the dish liquid. The reason why using the dish liquid is to make it a sticker, to make it to stick. Right? That's why you use it. Right? So it could stay on the leaf longer. And also you must spray the underneath. All right? Don't just spray on the top. Because when the rain comes, everything will just wash off. You have a better chance of it remaining under the leaves also. Yes, sir. 5. Uh-huh. Okay, all right. So what I do is for every 5-gallon bucket, I would blend about 3 heads of garlic and leave it to ferment for 3 days. You leave it to ferment. The fermentation is essential. Right? Now, if you don't want to go through the fermentation, you boil some water and you leave it, let it seep, and then you could use it when it cools. But I prefer the fermentation method. I find that to be more effective. So the 5-gallon bucket with the 3, and then you spray regularly. So for every 5-gallon bucket, and then you use that water. Remember I tell you have to break down 10 to 1. Or then you test it out and see something you could go a little bit above based on whatever the plant is. All right? Now, one thing I missed to mention is that there are also ground covers that don't have to be dead matter. You could actually use plants as ground cover. Right? So if you're planting, say tomatoes or eggplants, you can plant a plant that can cover the ground, but it's not a fast growing plant, but it will cover the ground, but it won't grow high to compete with the eggplants. One plant I would recommend, because it doesn't have a deep root system, it wouldn't really compete with the eggplants, would be porcelain. You know what I'm talking about? And it's also porcelain, and it's also edible. You can actually cook it, right? So you could plant those to help to keep moisture. Well, yeah, you feed pigs, you feed chickens. Well, it's just edible at the end of the day. It's all around. I show every. Yeah, it's around. Right? Now, so when it comes to your garden, like I say, the covering is very important. Even if you're planting in buckets, you can put a cover. You could even use cardboard. Cardboard is also good that you can use, but not the cardboard with the inks or the plastic or the shine covering on it. A raw cardboard, you can use those as covering. Right? Now, if you have a dead patch of soil, you can place cardboard over that, and then you could add whatever wood chips or whatever dead matter on top of it. You leave that there for maybe a month, and you're going to raise the cardboard up. I guarantee you're going to see earthworms. You don't know where the earthworms has come from, but they gravitate to those things. All right? Now, when you're doing your backyard garden, you don't just go out and start planting. There are things that you have to take into consideration, right? We in St. Vincent, we just get up, oh, I'm going to plant lettuce, or I'm going to plant cucumber, and you just go out and you plant, and when you plant, you realize, okay, they're not growing as you expect them to. There are factors that take place that could affect the growth of these things. One is where you place these plants when you're growing them. For instance, you have to consider the sun, the exposure to the sun, right? For instance, you're planting lettuce. Lettuce does not do too well in full sun. Lettuce only need about 6 hours of sunlight per day. Midday sun basically can kill your lettuce if they have direct, with the kind of heat that we just experience. So you have to think about ways where, okay, if this is my patch of land, the sun is coming from that direction, midday, you might say, okay, let me plant my lettuce on this side. Or let me plant them more on that side. So when the sun reaches at that side, the shade, by the time 1, 2 o'clock, they are getting some shade. You understand? Now the sun, if you notice, when you grow lettuce in direct sun, they don't grow as well and they are very bitter. Right?
Okay. I used to think that lettuce get bitter with age.
Which age? Well, there are three factors. The sunlight is one, the age is one, and also the type of manual application. If you overfeed a lettuce, it gets bitter. Right? The hot sunlight, it gets bitter. It's gonna stunt the growth and it's gonna take longer. Right? Urine has a manual. I would say, okay, I would take a chance, to be honest, with like rabbits, but I would dilute that, but I would not make it touch the leaves. I would use it as a soil drench. Right? And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I have experience where I see people. One guy actually sprayed Baygon on his lettuce because he saw some pests on it. And from that, I just decided, only lettuce I'm going to try eat is my lettuce that I grow. So that is why backyard gardening, your own gardening, is very good, very essential. You know exactly what you are eating, right? Not too long ago, I heard somebody told me that they saw a guy doing his lettuce and he was actually wetting them with a blue liquid. What kind of blue liquid is that? So that you know that's some chemical he's using. Right? And another experience I'm going to tell you guys. I remember one of the extension officers came to my garden one time and she picked a tomato and she was eating it and she said, you know, your tomato is the only tomato I've eaten from a garden for years. She said she went in Richland Park and there was a guy who was going to harvest his tomatoes the Friday to sell them the Saturday, and the Thursday he was spraying them with chemical.
But sometimes when you buy some of the fruit, you naturally smell it, and some of them, especially the sweet pepper, you naturally get taste
Chemical.
on the
Yeah.
skin of the
So I get to understand that in St. Vincent, people do spray the thing the day before they actually harvest them. Okay. Now, I will tell you this, right? Lettuce is one of my go-to crop, right? I plant a lot of lettuce. And the responses I just get from my customers, I have a customer here who could swear for me. Yes. Well, I have multiple customers here who can swear for me, right? My lettuce would last close to a month or over a month in the fridge. Right? And my lettuce don't have any chemicals in it. My go-to manual is goat, sheep, rabbit. Chicken, yes, I kind of avoid chicken somewhat because it is more, it burns the crops. If you don't have the mixture correct, and I do use it, but sparingly. But you see the rabbit is my go-to. The goat and the sheep. All right? And lettuce, if you have healthy soil, you can get lettuce turnover in 6 weeks, the most. And once you have rainwater is also the trick. And the thing with the rainwater is the microbes in the soil. Once you have the good microbes in the soil, then your plants will respond beautifully. Cattle, I don't use cattle dung. You know the reason why I don't use cattle dung? You put cattle dung in your lettuce bed. In 2-3 days, you see all kind of nut grass and everything just taking over your whole lettuce bed. That is why I just run from that. So what I do, I second my rabbit. I'm not saying the cattle dung is not good, but I avoid it because it's too much to deal with. Huh? Yeah. A whole heap of grass seeds and yeah. So I avoid. I don't know if they don't break it down in the stomach. Although they have so many stomachs, I get to understand. Right. Mhm. Right. To germinate, help with spreading up the seeds. Yeah. Right. So yeah, so I was going back to where I was saying you got to design your garden in such a way that it works with the elements, right? So it works with the sunlight. You got to know where to plant certain plants within your garden. So you got to know, okay, and you got sometimes it's through experimentation. So you have in your garden itself, you got to observe. If you see that, okay, you know you plant corn here this time and it grows well, you know, okay, corn is growing well there. You plant potato on this side and it grows well, right? And then you know you plant something else and it doesn't grow well, you plant something else and if that grows well, you know, that error, right? So like I said, certain plants need certain levels or certain amount of sunlight. So you have to take all of those into consideration when you're planting. All right? Now also when you plant in such a way that I plant in a way that I have a 3-layer system, right? I don't just plant this area with corn alone or this area with potato alone, right? What I do, I do intercropping, yes, but I do it on a small scale. So for instance, and I don't really, well, let me explain it this way. I don't use the long banks. And this is from my own experiment. What I do, I make round circular banks, right? And I got to explain something with that too. I make round circular banks and I mount it up. And what I do, I plant on the outer diameter. I would plant, say I plant corn out there. And then in the middle, I would plant something. Maybe I might plant a squash, watermelon. I'll put broccoli on the outside. Now, the reason why I plant the watermelon is that the water already, it comes as a cover. So it comes back as a mulch. All I'm getting fruit from my mulch. So the watermelon itself going to cover the ground to keep the moisture in the soil. Right? Now I have the same mount, I have cassava. And in the cassava, on the top part of the mount now, I have cucumbers. So, and I wait until the cassava about that high, and then I plant the cucumbers. So the cucumber is going to use the cassava as a trellis.
What was sweet potato? Because sweet potato could always be a couple.
Right. The same thing with the the reason why I don't, you can use the sweet potato, yes, as a cover, right? It got attract some people. Well, according to how you plant them and stuff like that, or according to some people, you plant it with the moon. If you plant it off of the moon, then you'll get worms. I don't know about that, but right. I do plant potato. My method, I do have some potato. I'm trying to remember the method I have them in. I have the potatoes. No, I think I leave the potatoes by themselves because the potatoes are heavy feeders. Yeah, I think I have those. Yeah. No. What I did. Right, potatoes and corn. Yeah, so the corn, the potato acts as a ground cover. Right. But what I did. Yeah. But when you guys, I think some of you guys will come and visit. I think there's a visit to my garden. Well, I have multiple plots. And you will see also, even with the cassava, because I do a mount system, on the flat part of the land, I have the cassava, and then on the mount itself, I have potatoes. So it's not really competing. Already in the same space, they're not really competing. Because the potato would not go further than, say, a foot down in the ground. And if the mountain is a foot high, you understand? So that's how I do that. Hmm? Yeah, cassava goes deep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, so we cover the how to location and what to decide to grow. And you have also, you think about companion planting, right? The same thing with the corn and the sweet potato. So, and it's always best to have multiple plants within your garden. Because if you just plant one particular crop, a pest comes in, it can wipe everything out one time, right? So if you have multiple things, if one go down, then there's something you can always bank on. All right? Any questions? Mm. Well, you ferment it for three days. Leave it in the bucket, ferment that for 3 days. And then you strain it, and then you spray, you dilute and you spray. Yeah. Yeah. And you could, like I say, you mix that with your pepper. You can even use black pepper. You don't just have to stick with hot pepper. Black pepper also can be used. Yes. Mm-hmm. Flour. Yes. Yes.
That's the question I was about to ask. If it was for and they will tell you already, each one plant. Like, okay, for instance, like plum.
Right.
That's some young plum tree and a couple of small that just start there and you see around the leaf. You know, it's like I'm looking at it, but attached to like.
Okay, so let me tell, like I spray my fruit trees, right? And I do spray them. One of my main spray, like I say, I spray my fruit trees with baking soda. Give them a baking soda, 1 tablespoon to a gallon. You spray them, but you have to do it once or twice a week. The thing is to keep up with the routine. That's the issue.
With that same solution, does the weather make a difference? Like a hot day or?
Well, you normally apply these things in the cool of the day. The cool of the day. And the thing is, I prefer personally to do my application in the evening. Because sometimes you apply in the morning, and based on the concentration, when the sun comes up, it can burn your plant. So by giving it in the evening, it gives a longer period for the plant to adjust. Right? So yeah.
I have a problem with the black ants.
Black ants.
Yeah, with pepper, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go in the root and they like a fungus, a white fungus, and after it is there.
Okay. So ants.
Yeah.
For ants you can actually kill. The only thing with this, it doesn't. Sometimes the population needs to be a bit reduced. Sometimes I'll be honest. So what I do, if it's an infestation, I would mix some white vinegar with dishwashing liquid, the same measurement, like a tablespoon of vinegar with dishwashing. Huh? Yeah. And then you spray. Soon as it hits the ants, you see they start to quail up and they basically die. But the thing is, it doesn't get rid of the colony. That kills them on contact. Now, if you want them to get out of there, normally you can use cinnamon to disrupt them. They don't like cinnamon. Ants don't like cinnamon at all. So the cinnamon powder, you can use that. Right? But the thing is, like I said, the application you have to be at it. Be at it regularly. And then eventually they'll just. They have a symbiotic relationship. And if you want to get rid of mealybug, see, mealybug is affecting your trees, disrupt the ant system. Ants and mealybug have a relationship like this. The ants protect the mealybug because what the mealybug does, the mealybug creates a sweet substance that feeds them and they protect the mealybug through that. So if you want to get rid of the ants in that location, there will be no mealybug. So you don't have to go and buy these chemicals and spray your plants. And the thing is, if you look in nature, human beings are the only beings that spray their food with chemical and then goes back and eat it. I don't understand that. Yeah, spray them. That is just deter them. They deter them. Even with the pepper is all, you use the pepper, but the thing is you gotta be at it, and sometimes it's best to ferment it a while. It come almost like a vinegar kind of alcohol kind of thing. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Huh? Huh? No, this isn't wrong enough now. Yes.
We pollinate in the morning, right? So, instead of spray, I notice sometimes if I spray in the morning, the bees don't come.
Right. What kind of spray you spraying though?
This organic cure.
Oh. That's a local product? Organic, you say something organic? Well, to be honest, I just spray my garlic and stuff and the bees come. These bees just be there because that don't have, my spray don't affect the bees.
No, I mean, the same time when I spray, if I spray in the morning,
right,
they stay away from the plants.
Okay, well, they sense something that is not normal, so they run away. Right? So the best thing, again, I tell you, spray in the evening. Spray it in the cool of the day. So by the time the evening, that whatever, and they'll come in the morning, just try that and see. Yeah. But it got to be something. There got to be the scent in the air or whatever. Because there's something in the spirit itself that deter them. Yes.
They say peroxide. What do you use some peroxide?
Hydrogen peroxide. It's the same fungus. It helps to get rid of fungus. Right. Now, let me say this. Now that you mentioned that, when you're mulching, right? When you're mulching, for the mulch to be effective, you need about 4 inches to 6 inches in height of mulch for it to work, right? And when you're planting, so this is the plant. Don't put the mulch right up under the plant because some stems are soft. The harder ones you can take the chance, but you leave a little, maybe a 3 inches diameter off of the plant, right? And then you walk around that. And when I use the grass clippings, I just throw the grass and just pat them around like and leave that. Well, when you guys, the group that will go come and visit the farm, you guys will see. All right?
You mentioned wood chip only. Where can I get wood chip?
I sell wood chip.
You sell wood chip?
Yes, I do. The market price of wood chip is $20 a sack. I sell at $18 a sack. And that is one of the full feed sacks. Huh? Yeah, I do wood chips. All right. Yeah, so yes. So and the other supplier of wood chips would be Vinlec. So Vinlec sells wood chips also. All right, and take forestry. It's true. Vinlec forestries do theirs. Forestry do wood chips also. Okay, but I know Vinlec does wood chips. They do it with they do it down at the incinerator. a diamond. CWSA, sorry. My apologies. CWSA is who does the wood chips. And it does it at the landfill. Off camera, I would say something concerning that. All right? So, do you know that when I'm just going to say this, when my wood chips, they have no chemicals added to them. All right? I chip from the tree and you get it directly. There's nothing added. All right? Okay. So I'm living at Stubbs, Upper Stubbs. Yeah. So I'm a countryman, eh? Upper Stubbs, you know where the old police station used to be? So you know where the community center is at Stubbs? Well, I'm more going up to Victoria Village. I'm close to Victoria Village. Yes. So, huh? Yeah, I pass the police station, go up a bit. Yes. So, yes. Excuse me? They are different. Noble? Me a noble like this. Okay, I'll talk to you after. All right? Okay, so guys, your backyard garden is very essential, and it would help with the way how you approach it from now with the information that I give you. Will add to food security. All right, and it even help you to connect more with nature, as we like what we did with the web. I hope you guys will leave the centipedes alone in the soil. Whatever you do to them when they're in your home is your business. But I advise you, please, when they're in the soil, let them be, because they're very, very essential. All right? And remember that the foundation of the success to your plants comes with the soil health. First consideration, the health of your soil. All right? That's the first barrier and the first means of success when it comes to your gardening. All right? Okay, guys, well, that is it for my presentation. And thank you guys very much for the air. Okay.
The only way this program can be successful is that you all have to go and implement what you learned. It doesn't make sense you spend your day, because I know most of you are farmers, and to have to would spend your day in your land, right? And I mean, to waste that day and to come here and don't really implement what you have learned, because there's so many things. The things are so simple. It's things you have in your kitchen cupboard, like the baking soda and the dishwashing liquid, right? And the vinegar and those things. Those are things you have right in your homes that you can use to control the pests that affect your plants, or even to add nutrients to the soil. I think you all need to give Mr. Jack a bigger round of applause. Huh? Huh? Well, the thing is from this session, remember, this is just the beginning of this practical exercise. You are going to have practical demonstrations in that you're going to see how it is actually done. Right? So this is not just the end of it, just telling you. But at the same time, the information I tell you, I want you to go home and practice it. Because I know these areas are heavily thing with chemical. Because All they like to use a lot of things and just spray, go and buy these expensive chemical that is killing you, right? That is killing you, okay? So what I'm saying is that please implement what you learn, right? Because one of the things we wanted to do is to introduce like the beekeeping. Because beekeeping is also essential in terms of the whole ecological system, you know. Bees are important. And if you're spraying chemical, you're killing the bees. They're coming to pollinate the soil, they're killing the bees. And we want especially the women to get involved in beekeeping. Anybody know, sis, give me a chance. Anybody know the price of a little half thing of honey? Honey. Right. Right. So you see the price, and most of it is imported. It's $100+ for a 26-ounce bottle of honey, right? So these are, yes, so you could produce these things yourself, but then you have to plant the plants in an organic way so that you can have the bees, it bring back the bees, right? So we can train you because all that is part of the training, not only in plants, but how do you preserve the insects that can make you make a living from, and that form part of your sustainable livelihood. You could earn income. Instead of buying everything, you're buying everything in the store. You have a call, you want some honey and lime, you have to go and buy the honey. When you can produce the honey yourself. And therefore you have to plant plants that is going to attract the bees. Okay? So I want to thank you all for coming. And I know we have had y'all for a very long time. I'm very pleased with the turnout to this session, and to tell you, going forward, we are going to have more sessions where we are going to give you practical examples. All right. And remember, you have to also thank Dan, who takes time out of his busy schedule to come and visit the project. Yeah. All right. Yes.